Hi there, welcome to tonight's edition of the Private Property Podcast. My name is Sibs Matiela and I am your host. We're talking all things property because this is the portal that privateproperty.co.za brings you to ask all of your property related questions and queries. We bring you the experts and you gain the knowledge. Today is no different. We are talking about property insurance with Chief Experience Partner of King Price Insurance, Wynand van Vuuren. Wynand, thank you so much for joining me. Wynand, thank you so much for joining me today. Well,
Thank you, Sibs. It would have been nice to have you here in our palace today, that we could show you a few of the spoils here, but maybe next time.
I will definitely be coming through to hang out with you guys at King Price. But Wynand, tell me exactly what a client experience officer does and why, according to King Price's Facebook page, you've missed your true calling as the full-time happiness fairy.
So if you were here today, you would have seen what I'm talking about. So it's a lovely environment that we've created here at King Price. You know, it's we always, the people visiting here say it's nicer than Google and other places what they've seen. So we spend a lot to make it a very stimulating, nice environment for the staff. You know, we don't want you to have that Sunday night blues. You must be excited to come, you know, to the palace on a Monday morning and come and treat our customers like royalty and like kings. And, you know, it's important because we believe that if your staff and your employees aren't happy, you're not going to have that smile on your face when you deal with you know, the people out there of South Africa. And if we promise you royal service, we promise that we're going to treat you like a king. We need our people to also be happy, you know, to have that smile on his face and to be proud and eager to help every customer that we communicate with.
Listen, Wynand, that sounds like an amazing place to work. And if I lose this gig, I'm going to find out if you guys are hiring. I want to know from you, South Africans are known for being typically underinsured. For those of us who don't know, what exactly is property insurance? What is bond protection? Why do we need these things?
So it's a very serious matter because there's a lot of people that only found out of the mistake that they've made once they get to a claim. Now, let me explain to you quickly. You've got building insurance, that can be your house, that can be the building where you run your business. And people then go and say, listen, okay, so let me insure my house for 2 million rand, for example. And they haven't made sure that that will be the replacement value of the property when something happens. So we've seen in this last year how a flood can come past and sweep your whole house away, your building, everything that is within it. If that wasn't insured, you will start all over again. You'll have to rebuild, start your whole life again and find another place to stay again. If you insured, your insurer is going to come and say, listen, so to rebuild this property, here's the plans. It will cost, we know that you've been insured for the 2 million. It will cost us 2 million. Therefore, you're correctly insured. So it's not a problem. And they're going to put you in the same place. That big word that they always use, indemnify, is just to put you in the same position that you were before the time. So often people are asking me, so how do I know what is the value which I need to insure this building for? So it's not that difficult. You can get a builder or a conveyancer that can come and say, listen, so with your specific finishes on your house, what is the rebuilding cost per square meter? And once you've got that number, you just go and times it by the square meters of your property, and then you know what the amount is that you have to insure your building for. And then you can't be they can't catch you out where you maybe 50% insured. Say you only insured for 2 million, it should have been 4 million. And now you've got a half of your house that burned down, then the insurer will only pay half of the claim because you were underinsured. You only paid half of the premium actually that you should have paid under normal circumstances. And another thing is building insurance is relatively towards the risk that you cover, not expensive. So don't make that mistake of paying 50 or 55 Rand cheaper a month and being underinsured, and then find yourself, you know, that you run that risk of not being indemnified properly.
Tell me more about bond protection.
Yeah, so you know, on the bond protection, the bank will request from you to have your property insured. So we see many people, you know, you go and the property is still bonded. You can't just go and decide whether you want to have the property insured or not. there will be part of your contract will be to make sure that there's insurance on the property, and the bank will 9 out of 10 times also give you the value of which you need to insure the property, because then you know if something happens there, you pay that premium. You also know that whatever damages will occur there, that will be fixed by your insurer. And what's very important that the consumer should know is the bank can't prescribe to you who the insurer is that you need to insure your property with. They actually have an obligation in terms of regulation to inform you that it's your decision which insurer you want to make use of, and that you can go and shop around. We've got a very healthy insurance market in South Africa. You can find the best cover for the best premium and make sure that you're properly insured. And then part of your previous question is, what is part of that building of mine? It's unbelievable how many people don't understand that. That will include your swimming pool, the paving that you have outside, the gate motor, all those things that one doesn't think of normally, your alarm system, your electric fencing. I always say everything that if you sell your house, you move out with your contents and you sell your property, everything that will stay behind there forms part of your building cover, included in that insured amount.
Wynand, what exactly does property insurance cover and what isn't covered? How do you decide what acts of God are in order to make sure that you get the most out of your comprehensive cover for your property?
That's an interesting one. So you get two kind of insurance policies in South Africa. The one is an all-risk policy, and the one is a peril-based contract of insurance. So I've been at the Ombudsman for short-term insurance for 5 years prior to the start of King Price. And I haven't seen many, personal lines building cover policies that's not a peril-based contract of insurance. And to just explain that to you, so what determines cover? It's not the damage. So if you see there's damage to my roof, you can't go and ask the question, well, there's damage to my roof. Is that damage covered by the policy? The policy will stipulate any damage to the property that is caused by certain perils that will be covered. So let me give you an example. That will be, does your peril-based contract of insurance include power surges and dips? Because in these times in which we're living, we see electricity going on and off, and that creates that surge. It can damage all your appliances, expensive equipment. I've had a coffee machine that got damaged like that. So is that one of the covered perils? Does it then include rain, storm, hail? Hail is not always included. There's parts of the country also, like in the Cape, where we never see hail. Why do you want to pay a premium for hail damage if you're not exposed to that?
Experience it.
Yeah, that is a peril that you don't want to pay for. So you must go and have a look, take your policy and see what is that list of perils or happenings that can cause damage, fire, legal liability. Are all of those things that you're exposed to included in the cover that you have? Not every policy out there that's saying that you've got comprehensive cover is actually comprehensive. You must go and have a look, read through it. Make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, talk to your broker that you can understand everything, or to your insurer. At King Price, we love to do business with brokers. We've got a lot of policies sold through brokers because they can come to you, they can advise you and make sure that you understand the policy and you know exactly what you're covered for.
So what I'm hearing is that the surefire way of making sure that you get the most comprehensive insurance for your property is figuring out what your personal risks are, listing them one by one, and then making sure that in that schedule or that premium, that all of those things are listed.
Yes, make sure. Are you exposed to flooding? Is that one of the perils that will be covered by your policy? Are you like the nice enough people close to these forests? Make sure that fire is included there. Are you landslip, subsidence and landslip? Not every policy includes subsidence cover. If you're exposed to that, and if there's a worry, are you in an area where you know that there's risk? Make sure that your cover includes that.
Wynand, is there a difference between insuring a freestanding property versus a sectional title? If there are differences, could you explain those to me?
Yes. So if you're gonna sell your property, that's more or less going to be the same transaction. But there's a big difference between a sectional title and a normal freestanding full title ownership of a property, in the sense that you're going to have a levy to pay, when you at the sectional title property. And then what's also different is all that communal, property that is owned by everyone in the scheme, and that must also be insured. So the body corporate will have to take responsibility for that. Through the levy, everyone will contribute towards that. And now in our country, we also have strict legislation which the body corporate must abide to make sure that the funds are properly managed, so that insurance is paid, and that that if anything happens, if a flood comes through, takes everything away, you will know that it's not only that little house that you are staying in, everything else that you've been paying for, will also be covered by that insurance.
Wynand, you mentioned earlier that you love to work with brokers there at King Price. How would a broker from King Price evaluate a potential client? By that I mean, how would you go about advising a client? What would you want them to pay specific attention to?
So that is an interesting story. Many of my friends are phoning in and say, listen, so King Price advertise cheap premiums, and I'm not happy with the premium that I got. And I said, listen, but I know you very well. You've had 3 claims in the last year, and you buy very fast and far every day. So you're one of those higher risks, and the premium that we give you for your specific risk is actually a very cheap and small premium. So one should understand that. So the data over time is gathered by an insurer. King Price has also done that over 10 years. And then we've got a black box that when we ask all your criteria, we know, listen, so this is how far you drive every day, the time that you spent on the road. And those factors are taken into account to determine your specific premium. Now, the broker will get all the details from you. That will be fed into our black box, and then you will get a premium that is relevant to your specific risk. And things that are interesting in this sense, if you buy a new car, a black car, data has shown over time that a dark color black or a charcoal car is for some or another reason not as visible as a white car. So even the color of your car will be taken into account with most insurers. That's got a refined underwriting model to make sure that you pay a little bit more premium to cater for the fact that there's a higher accident frequency on a red and a black car than for a white car, for example. So if you drive a white car and your insurer is not giving you a better premium due to that, then it's time for you to talk to another insurer maybe. But other things that are taken into account is, what's the nighttime circumstances of your car? Is it in a locked garage? Is it behind a locked gate, or is it standing outside in the street? The risk factor there speaks for itself. So that will also influence your premium. So all those things, your credit score, people don't know that. When you get a quote and they ask permission for your credit score, that's for a reason. That will influence your premium, because history has shown, we don't maybe know why, but people that are responsible over their finances are also, in most cases, more responsible over their assets, and you can also give them a lower premium to pay. So it's a very interesting subject. All those items are taken into account to make sure not only your claims history, you determine you as a risk, and the value of the property, what you insure, and that will determine your premium at the end of the quotation.
Wynand, obviously you really know your stuff, but it sounds like there's a lot of things that go into getting the most comprehensive insurance for your property that other people wouldn't know. In your experience, what would you say are the most common mistakes that clients make when they're purchasing property insurance?
Yeah, so you must be very careful. First, I always advise on affordability. You mustn't think that if you can afford the monthly bond payment and the insurance, you're already there. So maintenance is a very important one. The bigger the property, you must go and have a look. What is the construction made of? Is there a lot of wood used, decks, and so forth? a thatch roof maybe, and make sure that you can afford that monthly maintenance as well on the property. And the levy, is there a levy that's going to come in play? Because your short-term insurance doesn't pay for problems, maintenance issues. You have to ensure that the roof doesn't leak, that the water the displacement and all of that is 100% in order, that it's maintained every month so that the property is in 100% condition. And then latent defects. Do you buy a property that's got retaining walls? Is that properly constructed, according to regulation? Because you can't later come when there is a problem with a property because a wall is starting to lean over that's going to fall soon, and then you discover that the construction wasn't 100%. Make sure that when you buy the property that you get the plans, that it's approved by the municipality, and that all the construction that must be signed off by an engineer has been correctly constructed. Your roof, for example, can start to lean in or give in because of defective construction. So you need an expert that can get in there, go and have a look and see that the place is correctly built. Otherwise, if there's problems later, that's not covered by your insurance. You're going to have to take legal action against the people who you bought from, and that's very expensive and ineffective.
That was a lot to take in, but also incredibly informative. And I feel like I've come away from this conversation with you, Wynand, just knowing that much more about the things that I need to ensure to make sure I get the most comprehensive property insurance for myself once I finally win the Powerball and own my own home. Thank you so much for your time and your wonderful insights. Client Experience Officer for King Price, Wynand van Vuuren.
Pleasure.
Hopefully that discussion cleared up some of the issues that you may have regarding your property insurance. I'm Sibs Matiela. This is the Private Property Podcast, and that's it for tonight's episode. I will see you again tomorrow.